Hello everyone and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 11 live stream with me, Holly Shand. In today's stream, I'm going to be revealing my team for FPL Gameweek 11. I'm also going to be answering your questions as well as looking at captain picks. Maybe not the most difficult captain pick this week, but it certainly is going to be in the coming weeks. But there's plenty to talk about today with the injuries mounting up for our fantasy squads, making it really difficult to prepare for this game week. We're still waiting for news to come in about the availability of certain players. I'm in particular going to be looking out for the status of Reece James and also Alexander Mitrovic. So we've got lots of things to consider. If you are in here, please come and say hello in the chat. I'm going to be trying to get through as many of your questions today as possible. I'm also going to be hopefully answering your dilemmas, but come and say hello if you're in, and we'll start talking through a few things fairly soon. I'll start off by having a look at my team. It's in a bit of a mess. I mean, last week I managed to ruin my team by making unnecessary transfers. Now this week, I'm still unsure what to do right now. Obviously, we need news on Reece James and news on Alexander Mitrovic. I kind of have some options on the bench, but not a huge amount of options. So Andreas Pereira can come in for Mitrovic if he's injured. I can also have maybe Neco Williams or Emerson if they get some minutes on in place of Reece James. I'm a bit worried about Thiago Silva, seriously regretting that transfer from last week. So I'm in a bit of a pickle. I really want the 2 free transfers for next week. So if there's any hint that Mitrovic or James will be available, or any likelihood that Neco Williams or Emerson will get the start, then I will really try and roll the transfer. But I may be forced into buying a defender this week, which will be annoying. But, this is FPL for you, and it's the perfect storm now. I've got really, really low expectations for blank game week 12. It's going to be a brutal game week. We've got no City players, no Arsenal players. We've got injuries elsewhere. It's a real headache to decide what to do there. So important decisions to come. So hop over to the chat now and say hello. So if you are in here, come and say hello to me and start dropping your questions in. I'm going to try and get as many of them answered as possible. The poll is live as well. I can see quite a few of you already voted in that. There's a runaway winner already. No surprises. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you don't already as well. So we've got Steve is in. Hello, Steve. As is Gazman. Nice to see you back again. Assad, Amat, Wayne are all in, as is Stan, Nelson and Shashwat. So thank you so much everyone for joining. Keep dropping the questions in, and we'll see what dilemmas we've got for this week. So first question is from Steve. Hello Holly, I currently have Martinelli, KDB, Cancelo and Haaland, but want to lose one this week to prepare for game week 12. Can you suggest who and a good replacement? To be honest, I don't think I'd particularly be losing any of those. I mean, likelihood is Martinelli, Haaland and Cancelo, you'll have a fair bit of value tied up in. So they're automatic benches for game week 12. Use the other 12 players in your squad for game week 12. KDB, I guess, is the one that's disposable, but I am a little bit confused why so many managers are looking to sell De Bruyne this week. I think that Man City game against Liverpool is going to be a really good fixture. We've got to remember Liverpool have got a lot of key injuries. They're missing Matip now and Trent and Robertson in defence. I expect Man City to play really well in that game, and on current form, De Bruyne's a brilliant pick. I mean, if you've got 2 free transfers, I wouldn't be against moving him to Foden. But I wouldn't be selling De Bruyne this week. I guess the attraction is that you move for a Spurs player because, I mean, you could get Son in, who in the next 2 has Everton and Manchester United, and then you could get Foden, I guess, in game week 13. But I really like De Bruyne. I don't think I would lose him. If you've got 2 free transfers, I guess you could make the move if you've got no other issues. But you probably do have. Look at how consistent De Bruyne's been in the last 4. 6 assists in 4 games. And, you know, there's going to be goals in that Liverpool game. So my advice to anyone thinking of selling De Bruyne this week is just to keep him. FPL Gazman, talk me out of KDB to Son, please. I need to roll for next week. Hopefully I've done just that. Keep hold of KDB. Have your 2 free transfers for next week. You'll be really nicely set up at that point. You don't need to be doing crazy moves this week just for the sake of it. We know that midweek game week 12 is going to be brutal. We need to be conservative in our preparations for that. Wayne has asked if he should start Guaita or Raya. So Crystal Palace play Leicester away. I kind of expect Leicester to score in that game on current form. Brentford play Brighton at home. I'd lean towards Raya. I will look at the points prediction tool. You're joking me. This did this to me last week, and this is definitely my computer. Let me log out and log in again. I mean, I've moved across to Chrome because it's been causing me bother. It's not going to load for me, is it? I give up. It was working a minute ago. I feel like these things tend to happen on the stream just to try and trick me. It's like my computer just doesn't like me. I would play Raya. I think he's got the better save percentage as well, which is always good. See, look at this now. It's every stream. To be fair, it didn't do it to me last week, but every stream I get locked out. And then I have to go on the authenticator to get back in again. But, you know, it is good that we have got the 2-factor authentication this season, so I can't complain too much. As long as I don't miss it. We're back in. Sorry about that, guys. We're back, though. So, yeah, I would start Raya. What was I going to look at? Saves. Goalkeepers by saves. Yeah, Raya's third. He's had quite a few clean sheets. I know they've had good fixtures, a couple of clean sheets. Guaita's had 1. Raya's had 2. Raya's made a lot more saves, even though he's had easier fixtures. So I think that says everything that you need to know there. Assad, Trossard and Kane in, or Saka and Nunes in. I mean, I think the fact that Trossard and Kane have midweek fixtures and are nailed on to start makes that quite an easy decision. I don't think it makes sense to buy Saka this week when there's a blank in 12, even though I think those Arsenal assets will do very well. Stan says Perisic or Cucurella as a Reece James replacement. I mean, you're staring at rotation, Stan. I get the whole risk fee reward thing. Let's just start off with the Reece James injury, though. We don't know how serious it is. Potter's press conference is at 1:30, so we'll know for sure there what is going on by that point. But I guess if there's any chance he's going to be available for midweek game week 12, you hang on to him. That would be my advice for that one. But I can see why you are looking at possible replacements at the minute. But right now, the 2 defenders that you need are Cancelo and Trippier. The rest are, dispensable. And looking down this list, the ones that I would maybe be looking to, Lewis Dunk, nice pair of fixtures coming up next, Brentford and Nottingham Forest. I think he could be quite a good option to consider. Other than that, we've got the Crystal Palace defenders. Mark Gay seems to be getting a lot of love in the FPL community. It's 4.3 million. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you are looking for James replacements, you might as well free up the funds and move them forward. I'm not really enjoying any of the sort of mid to premium priced defenders right now. Nelson has asked, is it worth taking a -8 hit this game week just to have a full 11 getting me points? I guess I can see the justification as long as you're not buying City and Arsenal players and you're getting yourself a squad for game week 12 as well. I don't mind that, but don't sell City and Arsenal players to take that -8 hit either. I'd like to know who's coming out and who's coming in, Nelson. Wayne has asked, if James is out, start Gay or Kyle Walker-Peters. I mean, Southampton haven't kept a clean sheet this season, have they? They've got West Ham at home. But yeah, just start Gay. I think he's probably the better pick right now. Shashwat, buy one, Doherty or Sessegnon. You're going for rotation again. I guess if you really wanted to go Spurs defence, probably Doherty's maybe the one that's got the most upside. So maybe he's the one you go for. But, you know, it's not the most exciting. And, you know, when we need every single one of our squad players for blank game week 12, you don't want to be sweating on whether Doherty is going to start. Thank you so much, everyone that's joined me so far. Hit that like button. I can see there's over 50 of you in right now, which is amazing. Let's get the like button up to 50 as well. Keep smashing that like button. Nearly at 15,000 subs as well. So if you're not already subscribing, help me out, guys. I really do appreciate it. Be having a big celebration. I might even put it in my Twitter bio when I get to 15,000 subs. That'll feel like quite an accomplishment. George has asked, what do you think of Son to Salah for game week 11 and then back to Salah in game week 12? Don't really like it. I hate transfers that mean taking a player out and bringing them back in, especially Salah, who's on penalties. He played central in the Champions League when he came on as a sub, scored the fastest hat-trick in the Champions League ever. We see a high number of penalties in big games, and Man City, Liverpool is a massive game. So I think if you've got Salah, you just hold him now through 3 to 13 because you could captain him potentially against West Ham in 12 if we've seen him playing up top. And we can also think about maybe even captaining him game week 13 or at least owning him for Nottingham Forest away. Stephen has said hello, as has Kalechi. Keep your questions coming in the chat, guys, as well. BM Hills, agree on holding on for 2 free transfers for next week. Same issues as yourself. Oh, it's so frustrating. It is the perfect storm in FPL though. The blank, the injuries, the midweek game week. Honestly, guys, I hate midweek game weeks. Not just because I have to do double amount of work in a space of a week, but just because we get so much rotation. I've had midweek game weeks where I've had like less than 20 points, or I've had 20 points and I've taken a hit and I've ended up on less than 20. Like, sorry, I'm knocking my mic now. Yeah, that can be shocking. Sorry if I've blown anyone's ears off there. Kalechi says KDB to Son for captain. Just have a look at the poll, Kalechi. I mean, we've had 65 votes so far, 94% of Captain Haaland. There's going to be over 7 million managers captaining Haaland again this week. If you go against him and he scores a hat-trick, you're booking in a massive red arrow. Nakeen, who do you think is the best 4.5 million defender? I've mentioned a couple already, Lewis Dunk and Mark Gay. I don't mind James Justin at Leicester. Slim pickings though, it really is. You don't want to be playing any more than 3 at the back at the moment, put it that way. Solomon, hello. Which 2 players would you prefer between Romero, Cucurella and Dunk? I'm just not that convinced on Cucurella. Look, I've got 2 Chelsea defenders at the moment and I do not trust Potter. Yes, they're going to keep clean sheets, but there's no point having the players that don't start. So I would probably say Romero and Dunk, but even then, they're not that attractive. Yaheen, Dunk and can't say his name, Koulibaly, I brought in and will captain. Who will you captain? I don't know what you're saying there. Hey, Captain Haaland, go on. Steve, something to think about keeping KDB exactly. What do you think of Kane and Haaland as a 2-mium going forward? I think it could really work. I mean, I sold Kane after game week 1 because he blanked and got Haaland. And, you know, like, Haaland's got a good 40 points more than Kane. However, Kane has delivered in all of the next 8 game weeks, 8 goals, 2 assists. Like, he's having a great season. If Haaland didn't exist, you'd be looking at Kane and thinking he's having a great season and he'd be in the majority of squads. So I think it's perfectly viable to have Kane as your second premium, especially, you know, a few weeks ago we was thinking, well, we've got Kane and we've got Haaland being consistent, Mitrovic. Mitrovic was making Kane look a bit expensive, but I think now, sorry, I was just trying to centre myself and I've actually just ruined that. I think Kane now, you kind of, he's not looking too bad as an option, but the other dynamic that we also need to think about is, if we're going to captain Haaland every week, do we need a second premium at all? Because, you know, it opens up, and this wasn't the case a few weeks ago, so, you know, things do change quite quickly in FPL, but it opens up having quite a few of these mid-priced midfielders. Maddison, Foden, Bowen, Saka, Mount, Anthony, Zaha. You know, you could easily pick 5 from there. And that's what ignoring Kane does. So that's where you've got to kind of weigh it up there. Ben says, I've got James, Bailey and Williams. Feel very frustrated and don't know whether to roll the transfer to try and save as few hits as possible for the blank. Yes, sticky situation. I think Neco Williams, the rotation risk could work in our favour come game week 12, because even if he's benched at the weekend, then he could play against Brighton. So wouldn't worry about him. Leon Bailey's probably the one that we need to ditch quickest. So he would be the one that I'd look to replace. But if it looks like you can get 11 players out beyond there, then you need to think about it. Keith has said, thoughts on the best James replacement? Cancelo or Trippier, if you don't have them already and you're not trebled up on Man City already. Other than that, I would just drop down to some of the 4.5 guys. Kesh has said, what about bringing in Eze and Dyer for James and Bailey? It looks okay, but I would try, if you can get 11 players out this week, I would try and only use one transfer. So, do we know, have we had an update on Bailey? That's what I want to look at. Not looking too promising, is it, on a definite update for him? Whichever one looks like if they're definitely going to be out for longer, I would sell, but just sell one. Yaheem is tipping Skamaka to return massive again. He's not gone huge. Like, I know he's been quite consistent in the last couple of games, an 8 and a 9. I wouldn't say that was massive. Granted, I wouldn't complain about the points, but I still think that, you know, he is looking like a great player. Granted, he deserved his price rise, 2 goals in 2 games. The concern is Antonio. For some reason, Antonio wasn't in the squad in the Europa Conference League. It has said he's had an illness, so whether he's available for the weekend or not, I don't know. That's probably quite good news for Skamaka short term, but we could see Antonio play against Liverpool. But I guess you want Skamaka in the easier fixtures, but I guess don't shoot me, Liverpool fans, but I don't think that fixture is that difficult for West Ham at the moment. Next question is from Shamsu. Just curious, which team do you support? Is it Wolves? I do some work for Wolves, Shamsu, which is why I am a supporter, because if they're not in the Premier League, I'm not going to be doing FPL content for them. But they're kind of my adopted club at the moment. I live in Grimsby, so Grimsby Town is kind of my go-to. Now they're back in the league anyway, but try and keep quite neutral for FPL. Have had my biases in the past, but try and keep it neutral. Should I keep hold of Salah and James? Yes, particularly if we get news that James might be fit for at least for midweek. Yaheem brought in Koulibaly. Good luck with Potter roulette. Hill says James has fallen off a cliff. That's true, to be fair. He's got the potential though. That's the frustrating thing. 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 clean sheet. We've sold Trent on similar. Palace can't keep a clean sheet. Maybe this is the start. It's not going to be this weekend though, is it? I'd be surprised. Wolves in game week 12 at home though. Might as well lock that clean sheet in. That could be the difference. Musa says, I'm having a bad case of FOMO for not owning Bowen. Would you advise taking a -4 for Sterling to Bowen? I mean, it depends what the rest of your squad looks like, Musa, particularly going into game week 12. That's the thing that you've got to think about if you're trying to navigate that one, whether you could do without the hit this week, because it's going to be 4 points in there to think about. So that's the thing to consider for me right now. But you know, it's not. I think if I was in that situation, I would be quite tempted to make the move myself. Keith has said, I currently own Salah, thinking about swapping to Son. Any advice? I wouldn't do it, Keith. I think I've already mentioned this in another response, so hopefully I've got that one covered. Do keep getting your questions in though, guys. There's 75 of you in at the moment, 44 likes. Try and get me to 50, guys. Let's keep the subs going as well. It's really, really close now to 15,000 subs, which will be a massive milestone for me. So I would really appreciate if you could help me out by hitting that subscribe button if you don't already. 14,853. Not doing too bad. Not bad at all. But keep the support going, guys. Really appreciate it. Let's keep going with these questions then. Kiddos has said, I have Diaz and Perisic. Help. Well, you know, Diaz could start this week. Or do you mean Diaz as in Liverpool, Diaz, Z? Okay. We need to sell Diaz if it is Liverpool's Diaz. You could get someone like Trossard in, Bowen, Foden. And then Perisic. He should start this week. Probably won't start midweek though. So I think you take chances with him at the moment, but get Diaz sold and replaced with a better option. Nuclear Atoms said, get Webster, Dunk or someone else as a James replacement. Dunk will do. It's slim pickings, but Dunk's okay. Miss Adroot, what about Son? Good time to bring in. It is a good time to bring in Son, but I wouldn't be losing Salah or a Man City midfielder to get him in this week, because you're going to captain Haaland and then that just all diminishes the appeal. Onif, would you sell James for Dyer and Neco Williams for Dunk? I'd probably keep hold of Williams because I think he will play in the midweek, as I've already mentioned. But you can sell James if he's going to be out long term. Jordan says, I'm thinking Trippier for Trent and Neco Williams for Dunk. Trippier in for Trent is a great move. I maybe wouldn't do both, especially if you've got 2 free transfers. I think it's probably fine to roll the second free transfer for midweek. Rohit, planning on bringing Kane and Foden for De Bruyne and Andreas for a -4. That feels very sideways. As someone that made sideways moves last week, they can catch you out, Nelson. De Bruyne could do really well. So I would keep De Bruyne. Obviously, Kane's a good pick. Foden's a good pick. But I wouldn't be taking a hit to make that move. I would try and hold on to the players that you've got. You can even roll the transfer. Like, look at me. I'm going to have De Bruyne and Andreas this week. And then I'm going to have 2 free transfers for midweek. I think I missed a question in here as well. So Nelson says, these are the transfers I'm thinking of making. Dean, James and Williams out. Anderson, Johnny and Dyer in. Yeah, Lucas Dean needs to go. Reece James could need to go. Williams should be okay. So maybe just make the two moves for a one hit if you can. Not convinced on Johnny though. I think I'd prefer to have Kilman. You've got to remember the Semedo in the frame as well. Daniel says he plays for Sheffield United. Did you ever have me in FPL? Well, it's been a while since been in the Premier League, but you know, get back up there. You could well be. You could potentially be the first Premier League player that's commented in the stream, to my knowledge. So good luck, Daniel. Hope you have a good season. Saranik says, hi Holly, got in James last week. It's turned out to be a mistake with James and Mitrovic injured. Who should I get in for James? Wait for news. We've got Potter's press conference at 1:30, but if it looks like he's going to be out for a while, then I would look to get an alternative in, perhaps a cheaper player, move funds forward. If you've already got Cancelo and Trippier, I'd be looking at Dunk or Gay as the options there. Keep the questions coming, guys. Hopefully going to get through quite a few more. There's 90 of you in, only 54 likes. Keep smashing that likes button, guys, and hit that subscribe button if you don't already. Help me get to 15,000 subs. Hopefully not going to be too long before I hit that target, but be great to see a few more of you subscribing to the channel, and then you'll get notifications whenever I go live as well. VL says, how do you feel about Captain Salah after the 5-minute hat-trick the other day? Don't mind it for game week 12 as things stand. Obviously, I've not got Salah in my team at the moment, but I'd be happy to bring him in game week 12 and captain him if he is playing central again against Man City and maybe delivers something. It's on my radar. Gremlin has asked, any news on Mitrovic yet? No, not yet. Marco Silva's press conference is at 1:30. Again, I think if there's any chance that it could be fit for midweek, hold on to him. But I think the window of opportunity for Mitrovic is slightly longer than Reece James. Like, if James is out for Sunday, then he's probably going to be out for Wednesday as well. If Mitrovic is out for Saturday to Thursday, you've got an extra day either side there. So I think if there's any chance that he could be okay for midweek, hold on to him. Aston Villa at home, like, it's a nice fixture. Obviously, you can't captain him because of, you know, the fact that he has been injured, but he's one to consider for sure. Keep the questions coming then, guys, and getting towards the end of them. Keep me busy. More questions you leave, the longer I'll be here chatting for. Chewy has asked for the best Patterson replacement, 4.5 million or under. Let's just have a look at defenders priced under 4.5 million. You see, Ben White is a no-go just because of the blank. Kilman, I don't hate. I prefer Dunk of the Brighton defenders. West Ham, we've seen quite a bit of rotation, so I'd probably stay away from there. Ashley Young's a rotation risk. Castagna, Justin. I think I prefer Justin. I think Justin is maybe a bit further down the pecking order. But potential there for attacking returns. Another question on midfielders. Maddison replacement or hold on? Hold on to Maddison. It was only like a week ago that he got 18 points. He's had 7 attacking returns in 8 starts. Easy hold. Fixtures are still okay. Next 3, Palace, Leeds, Wolves. Zied said, is Doherty a rotation risk or should I stick with Dyer? Yeah, I'd probably stick with Dyer. I can see the appeal. If you really want to take the risk, take the punt. But I personally wouldn't be taking that risk with him. Finally managed to move that. I get a bit annoyed if I'm not in the middle. Fungi says, oh, sorry, I've missed some questions now. The FPVL FC, said it right today. Haaland or Salah as captain? Haaland, obviously. Agaba, is Mitrovic fit to play? Wait until 1:30 for the news in the press conference to see if he is going to be available or not. Hopefully he is, but then I've seen quite a few reports saying that he's not necessarily been seen in training or in any of the videos that have been put out in the last few weeks, which is a concern. I can't lie about that. So it's a risk. I feel like everything's a risk at the moment, but a few headaches for sure. Let's see what other questions we've got. So, Fungi, got back to you now. Start Pope or Ward? Always start Pope. Your Leicester goalkeeper is just purely there as a backup in case your actual goalkeeper is injured. Nothing more, nothing less. Jarrell says, I was thinking of transferring out Callum Wilson for either Skamaka or Solanke, but now that Reece James is injured, what do you think about getting James out for Perisic? Yeah, as I've said already, I know I feel like I'm sounding like a broken record. If there's any chance James is fit for midweek, keep him. But if he's out, then I think it's an easy sell. Especially if it means you can field 11 players this week and maybe you couldn't have before that. Kevin says, thoughts on Firmino? The trouble is, if Klopp decides to go with Salah up front, then that's going to leave Firmino out. But he is in form. I did the Sky Sports show this morning. Hayley had Firmino in her team, which I thought was quite interesting. 6 goals, 3 assists. Like, there's not that many players that have got more attacking returns than Firmino so far this season. But, you know, Man City at home isn't really the fixture to buy him for anyway. Felix said, is a Bournemouth defender a good replacement for Patterson? I mean, Bournemouth have improved defensively. You know, since Neto has come in, they've kept 2 clean sheets and conceded 4 goals in 5 games, which isn't bad. Fixtures are good up until the break. But then, I guess maybe Zamora is the one that's got the most attraction when it comes to attacking returns. But he'd missed out in game week 10, so certainly not an easy decision. Liverpool Anfield Legendary. This game week have lots of players playing against one another. Yeah, it happens sometimes, but the template is a template for the reason. You just got to ride it out. Hope for the best. Kilman or Doherty as a short-term Zinchenko replacement. I mean, Kilman is a lot safer, but Doherty has got a bit more upside. But, you know, he's not guaranteed to start every game, so I'd just get Kilman. Miss Advert says, you're doing great work. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And is your team name Hollywood? I'm just curious. Yeah, I needed to marry a Mr. Wood and then I could actually be called Hollywood, but no such luck. No, my team name is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. When I was younger, I used to play football with my nephew, and he was a big Man United fan, and he was always someone exciting. And I was always Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it stuck. So it's been my team name for a while. It's been quite a popular team name when Ole was at the wheel. Now that he's not, though, I look a bit outdated again. But it did have my 5 minutes of fame. I've had this as my team name, obviously, before Ole went back to Manchester United. FPL should structure their game like UCL Fantasy. Change captains on game days. Yeah, I don't think that's a big deal this season with Haaland, but yeah, it is quite a nice feature. I think when the World Cup Fantasy is out, we'll see that again as well. Amri has said, have I used my free transfer? No, not yet, but I think if we get news that either Mitrovic or James is out, then I may need to use it. Not exactly sure where to go yet. Kiddos says, keeping Diaz for Man City or selling? I think you can keep him for this week. Look to sell next week because he's not the ideal Man City player anyway, so he's an easier sell. Ricky says Dunk or Saliba to play this week. Saliba, easy. Don't even need to look at the fixtures. Fury Inferno says Veltman or Dunk. I prefer Dunk. He can, you know, get involved in set pieces. Which just makes him a bit more appealing. James is likely to be back in the Man United game, selling for Robertson in game week 12. Robertson isn't even fit at the moment, is he? But yeah, I think if it is, this is the thing to consider for Reece James. If he's going to miss game week 11, there's no incentive for Potter to play him against Brentford away in game week 12 when he's got that massive game Man United at home in game week 13. Just one thing I don't look at enough, guys, is the Premier League table. You know, just to get an idea of what is a big game. But, you know, it's 4th v 5th. I think the Premier League table's looking a little bit more normal now, isn't it? Other than Man City on top, which is a bit mental, even though, you know, almost everyone would give them the league now. Steve has said, is it just me that finds the 6:30 Friday deadline frustrating? Don't get home to work till 5 and then have to remember to do team. Yeah, it's really annoying. I prefer a Saturday deadline, although at least I don't have to work on a Friday night when it's a Friday deadline, because it's like, it's done, it's out of the way, nothing more I can do. Keep your questions coming, guys. I'm enjoying answering them. Augustine says, would you captain Son against... I'm guessing you mean over Haaland for this week? No. Tarkin, should I have to sell Mitrovic to Kane with my -4 to make him my captain on game week 12? Do it in game week 12. 1000 says, is Kufal a hold this week? Kufal's been a bit of a frustrating one, hasn't he? There's a lot of injuries in that Hammers defence, though. Could be good for me as an Emerson owner. He's not started the last 2. Did he start in the Europa Conference League last night? Emerson got an assist last night, I think. Yeah. They both started. And Emerson started. I just really want Emerson just to get back in. Just one little opportunity. It could come. Yeah, if you've got someone to come off the bench, then I'd probably just say hold. Because I think even if he doesn't start at the weekend, he'll start in midweek. But I think this is like a good game for Moyes to rotate the squad ahead of Liverpool midweek. Nelson has asked, Andreas or Almiron who to start? I'd say Almiron. It's Bournemouth though, isn't it? I think if there's any chance that Mitrovic plays, then, you know, you'd want to play Andreas. Newcastle away at Manchester United is not going to be easy. Lee, I wouldn't recommend buying Perisic. He's on the way out of my team. Rarely gets 90. Yeah, I agree with you there, Lee, but there is a good chance he plays this week. So week by week, I think, yeah, you need to sell him, but maybe not this week. But I wouldn't buy him this week either. Nelson said Firmino thrives in big games. Yeah, that is very, very true. I'm going to do 5 more minutes of question, guys. So if you have got any last minute ones, keep them coming to make sure that you get yours answered. Rudger says KDB to Trossard, Tony to Kane for a -4. Or Mitrovic to Welbeck with free transfer and KDB to Trossard next week. Try and roll your free transfer is what I'd say. De Bruyne is a great option against Liverpool. Mitrovic could be back still. We don't know. Peter is, hi, thank you for joining. Would you recommend as a replacement for Raya? I wouldn't be making a goalkeeper transfer this week, but if you really had to, Kepa. Terry says, thoughts on Aubameyang? Just avoid Potter roulette. Avoid all Chelsea attackers. Nelson, is this the best game week to look to go against the crowd and captain Kane instead of Haaland? I don't think so, but I am going to get on to captaincy. So this is your last opportunity to vote in a poll before I ended it. 174 votes. It's great, really. So thank you everyone that's got involved with that one. Many players are injured this time. Will -4 hit? Or is just go as it is? I would just go as it is because midweek is going to be really, really tricky. Another vote for Kepa. We'll find out about Mitrovic at 1:30 in Marco Silva's press conference. Lee says Kane over Haaland for captaincy. Let's see. Shargava, can I play Dallo in defence against Newcastle? Yeah, don't see why not. Musa, why do people have Thiago Silva? Because we are idiots. I am anyway. Should never have brought him in. How many transfers can you roll over? Just 2. So if you've got 2 free transfers now and you don't make a transfer, you'll only have 2 free transfers next week. This is why last week I had 2 free transfers, didn't know what to do with them, just made some transfers just for the sake of it and made my team worse, and now I've only got 1 free transfer. So it is okay to not use the transfer anyway if you don't need to. By this point you probably do. Robin has asked Trent, Neto and Archer on my bench. 2 free transfers, 0.1 in the bank. Get rid of 1 or roll. I'd sell Trent to anyone really. Depends if you've got big plans for attackers, how many premiums you've got in so far, as whether you go to like a Cantello or a Trippier, or whether if you go right down to one of the 4.5s. Right, let's end the poll then. In the end, a little bit less one-sided than I thought. 85% have gone Haaland of 170, 87. 14% have gone other. I'm guessing everyone that's in here probably owns Haaland. Haaland currently is in 84% of teams. 84% of 10.6 million is probably nearly 9 million. So if 85%, it's could be 7.5 million, 8 million who actually captain Haaland. So if you don't captain Haaland and he bangs, then you're going to be in trouble. But I have picked out some captain picks. Let me just move that up for this week. Try again. Get it in the right place. Still new to some of this streaming stuff, guys. So, yeah, Haaland is my number 1 captain pick for this week. I think he's a very good option. Kane and Saka are the other names that I've got in the frame. So Kane against Everton at home, I think is a really great fixture for him. Leeds away for Saka, great fixture as well. All of them are on penalties, but, you know, don't try and overcomplicate it. Captain Salah is an easy... Captain Salah? Ooh, that's scary, that. Captain Salah. You heard it here first. No, Captain Haaland is going to be the easy decision to make this week. So that would be my recommendation. I think there's still a few more questions, so I'm just going to answer the last of the questions and then wrap it up. So if you've still got time to ask a question. Daniel, you've sent your whole team. Just ask me a question, Daniel. I can't go through a whole team. We've not got time for that. Abanash says a wild card this week or in 13. 13 easily. Mohammed said best Mitro replacement, Skamaka or Welbeck. Skamaka. Musa hoping to break into the top 500k this week, maybe 400k. That's brilliant. Really good position to be in this early in the season. Cameron has wished me good luck from South Africa. Thank you. You too, Cameron. Peter Robertson played in the second half of the Champions League against Rangers. Brilliant. Man City will lose. Will they? Ooh, we'll see. We'll see. Moose's wanting to do Salah for De Bruyne in game week 12. Yeah, I think that is a good move. Fired best defender up to 4.5 million. I'd probably say Lewis Dunk or Mark Gay. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I'll be back probably on Monday with the team selection for the midweek game week 12, so don't miss that one. If you are new around here, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Help me get to 15k subs really soon. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll probably be back with another stream on Friday. I'm not going to get any streaming before game week 12, so it'll be game week 13 live team reveal. If we get any certain updates on James and Mitrovic, I'll let you know in the community tab as well. But thanks so much for watching, everyone. Good luck for FPL Game Week 11.